Friday, July 10, 2015. ISIS in Washington, D.C. and how it connects with the Pope's visit. This coming September 23, 2015. It is one thing to uncover codes, but it is another thing to put the codes directly to the service of the people. I do wish to serve the people and keep you as informed on important topics as I would like my own family to be. Finding Our Lady of Isis yesterday was very exciting, but I had a dream last night about her ear and eyepieces and the ley line of the conception. So we need to press on with the information that is coming forth. So Our Lady Isis is sitting on a 269-degree heading. It is interesting to note for people who never play with Google Earth that the heading system on this globe model seems to be flawed, and that the heading changes every few miles, and often the heading reading will change from one measurement to the next. On my first measurement of Virginia Saint heading toward the cross of the Vesicopsis, the first heading was 33 degrees even, then it changed to 303.69 degrees. So I will have to see if I can get another clean reading. But from the Conception side to the crossing of 23rd Street and the Lincoln Memorial, the distance is 0.8 mile. I do hope to get into the sacred cosmic measurement origin of the mile. But for now just know that the mile and all of our units of measurement are carefully created to be like musical notation in harmony with the movement of the spheres. And I don't mean a heliocentric globular model. Our Lady is sitting on the 269th heading. Is it just a coincidence that 269 is the year of quoting from Wiki? Year 269, CCLXIX, was a common year starting on Friday. Link will display the full calendar of the Julian calendar. At the time it was known as the year of the consulship of Claudius and Paternus, or, less frequently, year 1022 Aberb Condita. The denomination 269 for this year has been used since the early medieval period, when the Anno Domini calendar era became the prevalent method in Europe for naming years. CLXIX is a reference to a worm, which is censored from most etymological sources, but it is also a chalice. In my last post there are pictures of Isis/Inanna holding the chalice. Because these are very early symbols, the chalice she is holding could very well refer to the chalice used by the Anunnaki to mix the DNA of the Anunnaki and the resident primitive human race. In the Zachariah Sitchin books, yes, I am aware of his CIA ties. He talks about how the Sumerian tablets describe in detail the mixing of blood and clay to create a new species. This symbol is very similar to our modern pharmacy pestle and mortar symbol that is on Safeway and Walgreens as they try to distance themselves from the other symbol of genetic engineering. The two DNA snakes around the spine/staff with the pineal gland at the top in the form of the winged disc, the caduceus. So both of these symbols are images of mixing DNA. What does this have to do with birth? 9/23 and the conception site of Horus with Isis in Washington, D.C. See my recent post about the simple rigomatria of the word birth, such an important word in our culture. Isis/Mary in this picture is conceiving. Horus most likely, or as Mary conceiving Christ. I am not implying that this is the same thing. I am as yet unable to sort out all of the identical overlaying stories, and sort the motivations of various powerful governments for morphing, changing and adapting these religions again and again. I am just pointing out that this is either Nut, sky goddess, and Geb, the phallus that points to the solar trinity as pointed out in the Hidden Records work. Or it is Isis and Osiris's phallus. Or possibly both. The Washington Monument is aligned with Orion rising, like a phallus, in the eastern sky, and it points toward the downward-facing triangular chalice that is the Trinity of Suns. There is an alignment on Sept 15th, but I wasn't able to find the photo. There was also an alignment on July 4th facing east. Please visit hiddenrecord.com to understand the connection of the Trinity of Suns, to the chalice, to Orion, to the mystery star Ovra, and how this is encoded in sacred installations all over our planet. Here we see ancient Sumerian god Shu, I believe, with his lighting tools, the double tridents, which I believe are the oldest aspect of the 23 symbolism that we are seeing today. The vesicapices on the clay tablet on the right is the shape that the wormhole star of Ra makes when it opens in the sky. Here the Pleiades and the exoplanet are shown in the star map with the star of Ra. Please see Wayne Herschel's site for the very important information about the trinity of suns and star of Ra and what it has to do with various obelisk constellations all over the world. Isis/Mary is sitting here with her feet pointed toward the rest of the US on the 269 heading, with the conception point coordinates being 38-53 single quote 21.81 and 77-02 single quote 06.79 W. There are a lot of number codes in the coordinates. 35 and 53 are encoded in sacred temple sites and in comets. The comet Bennu, Lord of the Jubilee, was originally called RQ-53 or 18 plus 17 equals 35, which makes this a 35/53 mirror. So the top coordinate reads 11 is the gateway for the falling star from heaven. 53. Of the trinity of suns, 21 equals 3, in the completion number of 9. So it points to the 9/11 date, which is the Julian equivalent of the Gregorian 9/23. We see that the Twin Towers, referring to Venus incarnated deities, event was a prelude pointing toward 9/23 because the second tower fell at 9:02 and 3 seconds. And we know that they do not usually publish the seconds unless there is a message. Also, the Philadelphia train wreck happened at 9:23 and there are too many other manufactured events with this clue to list. The bottom coordinate actually has the heading in it, and the triplet of 777. There is much more to study about these numbers. Here is line 2 much more about the number 269. Is it coincidence that 269 is what is called a twin prime? I think not. 923 equals 13x71, but despite its importance it doesn't have its own wiki page. 911 has its own wiki page with more information about the religion of numbers that we were not taught in school. Henry Bacon, Dr., the architect of the Lincoln Memorial, meets the Virginia Avenue line at a 33rd degree Mason. I mean, heading in the street is 0.45 miles long. It is probably just a coincidence that Henry Bacon died on a Gregorian calendar day corresponding to Lupercalia, Julian calendar, sacrifice festival days. So, there is the 9/23 and the Lupercalia sacrifice of the Freemason with the heading of 33 degrees. All in a nice tidy geomancy. There would be tons of science with Lincoln if I had all day to dig into this. I just had to find the 33 degree because the Virginia heading shifted by 90 degrees under my mouse. And that was strange. It isn't difficult to find a picture of Isis with her arms stretched out and her legs pointing to her right. And this one fits perfectly with some of the beams coming from her pineal gland. I was wondering why she was sitting on water, knowing that is Mari, but the picture is complete when you see that she is often pictured sitting on a low cushion or chair. I tried to do a video with my voice showing more aspect in Google Earth and my microphone just isn't working. The line and of the street between the Washington Circle and the pineal gland of Isis is not perfect. But the measurement from the center of the Washington Circle to the center of pineal gland of Isis reveals that these circles are far more than just circles of streets. A 111.99 degree heading toward Isis head and a 0.79 distance. From Wiki, 111 is a perfect totent number. 111 is R3 or a second root unit, a number like 11, 111, or 1111 that consists of repeated units, or ones. It equals 3 times 37, therefore all triplets, numbers like 222 or 777, in base 10 are of the form 3n times 37. As a rape unit, it also follows that 111 is a palindromic number. If we look at the number 79, We see that in simple gematria 79 shares gematria with these words: Lincoln, Akhenaten, Virgin, Sword, Yeshua, Flower, Alpha, Omega, and Honey Bee. In Jewish gematria it share gematria with key and oil. Both key and oil are symbols of consciousness in many cultures. 79 is the 22nd prime number. 22 is a number that is often quoted in gematria to refer to lowest descendant of man. It refers to the Hamite, the son Ham of Noah, who sodomized him in his sleep and received a curse not on himself but on his son Canaan. Buckingham Palace employs the root words, Bucca meaning mouth and goblin, Thing Crowling's depiction of the Goblin Bank in the Bank City-State of London, and Ham literally refers to a group of slaves that are also edible, specifically to the hindquarters of both humans and pigs. We know that humans and swine have interchangeable associations, at least with respect to being and deserving of wisdom. So Ham equals 8 equals 1 equals 13 equals 22 and P also equals 22. But I digress. More about the number 79 here, but the best association I can think of without more research would be the atomic number of gold, O equals 79, and its gematria is 22. Originally the humans were engineered to be gold slaves. It may turn out that we are literally mining gold from within. See the work of Dan Nelson in pulling the invisible and undetectable frequencies into living water using chi or charge. The feminine form of gold is undetectable, but a charge from sunlight or current will pop the feminine gold into its masculine physical form. This was the true function of pyramids. They concentrated energy with giant capacitors and both pulled the energy from the water underneath while charging the water and popping the gold into the masculine as a byproduct. This is why the Spanish found gold in the temples of South America, but no gold in the hills or water, because they didn't understand the true purpose of the pyramids. I don't know if Zacharias Sitchin understood and pretended he didn't in his book about the South American pyramids. It must be a volatile secret. With so many governments hoarding gold right now, one might wonder if Ra is going to return and demand gold, exacting a terrible price if enough gold hasn't been harvested. People who wonder about this rather than just believing what they are told or thought should be the crazy ones by the minds that are safely penned into mainstream thought. X. The legends and information about ISIS has been handed down and shifted to serve various purposes, but we are interested in the point of view of the Freemasons and what magic they are seeking to create with these ley line alignments and geomancy, so we can understand how these things affect our world. Isis stricta. A short excerpt from Wikipedia in disclosing his secret name by causing a snake to bite him, the antidote to whose venom only Isis possessed. Knowing his secret name thus gave her power over him. The use of secret names became central in many late Egyptian magic spells. By the late Egyptian historical period, after the occupations by the Greeks and the Romans, Isis became the most important and most powerful deity of the Egyptian pantheon because of her magical skills. Magic is central to the entire mythology of Isis, arguably more so than any other Egyptian deity. This could be relevant if our government is looking for protection from the return of Ra, by honoring Isis in this place of power. Interesting, right? Or as Wayne writes, they are honoring the wormhole mystery star of Ra, Stonehenge, with sex ritual and ley line geomancy. Please stay tuned as I decode more numbers, directions and geographic connections. Thanks for reading.